Hello and welcome to Nerdicky. For nerds, by nerds, I'm Nerdix Dave, and tonight I'm joined by all these fine nerds, and we're going to be playing some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons in our Ether Skies campaign setting. Uh, we have all of our friends, Tate, Jezi, Bobby, Robin, Carlos, and of course, Nerdarchist Ted here with us tonight. And you can find links to them all down in the description. Um, Other Skies is an Arcana Punk setting with some Eldritch horror mixed in with it. I'm just going to jump right on in and get to it. Previously aboard the Wind's Echo, the skies haven't been kind. The crew began their journey in Haven, a city suspended in the clouds, where celebration masked something darker. Beneath the surface of the Skyball Stadium, they uncovered a plot involving cultists, a lost experimental Aether ship, and signs of a fanatic prophet named Grisha. Shadows moved into the tunnels, and strange creatures, tentacled and warping, began to appear where they didn't belong. They weren't just hunting a ship, they were being invited. Their mission took them to the wreckage trails surrounded Haven, where they discovered that a skywell named Denvu had been corrupted, fused with ruined vessels, tormented by a dark rider that had hijacked its mind. Through ritual bravery and bone-deep empathy, the crew freed Denvu, earning its trust and bonding with the creature, transforming the Wind's Echo into a living ship. But peace never holds for long in Other Skies. Whale sightings have grown erratic, entire ships vanish, sky charts whisper, and somewhere above in the clouds, rotted belly of the world, something dark is watching, using corrupted sky whales to spread its influence like rot through the storm paths. Now as lightning crackles and Granglehold sinks under the weight of its own rust and ruin, the crew begins the hunt anew. Today you search for answers in the shadows of the salvage yards, but before the day ends, the sky will scream again. So on the Wind's Echo, things have changed and transformed. Denvu has merged with the Wind's Echo, creating a living ship. Down below the decks, Dorian Wild awakens. Darkness gave way to rhythm, not the sterile tick of machines or the pulse of Ether tech, but something deeper, older, organic, a heartbeat, too, maybe. Not yours, not quite. Then sensation returns all at once, the smell of sea metal and ozone, the groan of struts bending like ribs in a storm, and the soft, steady inhalation of something impossibly large. You open your eyes. The walls of the Wind's Echo, your ship, your sanctuary, are no longer still. Pipes flex with a pulse. Lights flicker in time with breath. The floor beneath you hums like a living chord. Part whale song, part memory, part machine prayer. You've missed something, and whatever it was, it changed everything. Someone leans over you, maybe a crewmate, maybe the ship itself. Their voice is distant, warped, as if filtered through deep water. You're back, Dorian. She's different now, and she remembers you. The ship exhales, so do you. And far below the deck, something stirs in unison. Above, forward on the deck, and below. Whoever wants to go first may. How are you guys reacting? We're picking up right after the ship and whale merged.
I'm gonna be honest, man. If we're noticing such a drastic change, at some point I'm gonna call for a meeting to be like, whoa, we gotta figure out what's going on. But I know Mara is losing her goddamn mind.
Does there appear to be any imminent danger?
Currently, no. Right now, the only danger is the strangeness of having the Wind's Echo completely merged with Denvu, the Sky Wow.
So I want to look around and try to find whatever the engine room would be.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Is that a thing? Like,
it is. So, the sky whales basically look like what humpback whales or sperm whales, except for their coloring is more like that of the sky, and blues and whites, which actually shifts and kind of shimmers, making them not impossible, but harder to detect at a distance because they just blend in with the sky. And you imagine if you were on the surface world, you could live your whole lifetime looking at sky whales and never know they exist. Being up in the sky with them is a bit different. They're easier to spot, but still, you kind of have to know what to look for in order to do that. Now, I'll kind of let you guys decide what the ship looks like, what the whale looks like now, after it's been merged. All the pieces that were part of Denvu before, when it was corrupted, have kind of been jettisoned or reconstituted to kind of meld with the sleekness of the wind's echo. Although I must say, because of the size of Denvu, it is not the slender needle of a ship it once was.
So are there, with the pieces of the other ship, are there new components to this ship, to this situation?
Well, for that, you would have to probably do a full diagnostic and examination of the ship and the whale. But also, like, right now, you guys are all on the bridge above deck. There appears to be, a below deck, but as far as you can tell, that would lead straight into the whale.
So, like, are we on top of the whale then?
Yes and no. Like, you are, in essence, on top of the whale, but the ship seems to be merged within it. And, the ship itself has kind of expanded to wrap around the whale, almost giving it like an armored appearance, as different pieces of the wind's echo has integrated with the ship, with the whale.
Go ahead.
If that's the case, then Rain is immediately going to head below deck because Dorian was down there.
Yes.
So he's going to rush as quick as he can to try to find a way down below deck.
Okay.
Which Dorian is doing the same thing right now. The very first thing he did when he woke up was reach for Rain. So he's up and headed in some random direction, probably upward, because if something happens, he knows Rain is in the action.
Okay. So you guys, as you kind of rushing towards each other, immediately one of the things you notice, like the below decks is much larger than it once was. So you might even get turned about once or twice before finally finding each other. It is much more spacious than it was before. And also, the sky whale is a living creature, and it doesn't seem like there should be these large cavities within such a thing, but there are, and it feels very natural and seems right.
It's giving Moya from Farscape. Yeah, so Dorian is like looking around in absolute awe at all of this because suddenly the ship is more alive than he is.
And echoing through the tunnels, you hear, Dorian! Dorian! Dorian!
I'm like turning corners and like following the sound of your voice. Rain,
And
I hear you.
you see him rush around a corner, and as soon as he sees you, he just charges and grabs you in an embrace.
So as you guys are doing that, you both see lights in the ship's quarters kind of light up, and almost like as if they're directing you towards each other.
I think the ship. I think so. I seem to be missing several hours of time, but I think I was powered down. Are you? And like hands just on your face, on your shoulders, checking you over for injuries.
There was so much, and I quickly recap all of last session, the gist of which is that we saw a whale that was in pain and dying merged with another ship, and we saved it, and in the process expelled a shadow creature that we defeated. I was so concerned when you didn't wake up, but I thought maybe you just needed rest. And I didn't want to disturb you. But then when the ship merged with that whale, I thought I might have lost you just for a second. I can't lose you again.
If you did, I have no doubt that you would get me back. Don't over worry. A little bit is okay. I was worried too. Is everyone else okay?
Yes.
And Dorian is just like sort of stroking Rain's hair and just like, which one of us is taller?
Probably you now because
okay.
And that might be new.
Yes, it is. I like the idea that Dorian was shorter before, and like he's sort of like taking advantage of like being in a position to stroke your hair like this, right? It will be okay. We will see them mended if there are wounds, and we might even be able to mend the ship that way now. I'm not sure. I could either way, but
you know, Elias almost died. He fell over the edge, and in that split moment, I realized his brother wasn't in a position to save him, and I knew that if it were you, I would give anything for anyone to save you. So I dove and saved him. We flew back up, of course, no harm. But I'm just so glad you're okay. And he just rests his head on your chest now that you're taller than him.
Dorian is not capable of like emoting facial expression entirely because all of that is made of like wood and steel and it's not very malleable. But there, you know, the contented sound that his gears make. You have heard it before and you know to make that connection. And he is content with your actions here. Like, you did something very good for other people and he's holding you extra tight for that.
Well, now that we know you're okay, let's get you above deck so everyone else knows you're okay.
And so that we can make sure they are as well.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I imagine we probably emerge arm in arm.
Oh yeah. Like, it is hard to keep his hands off you right now.
Oh.
Oh.
Razga, your crew is freaking out.
Yes.
They're very disconcerted about what's going on. But there's something else. Not only is your crew, your living crew, freaking out and trying to figure out what's going on, before you, for your eyes only, assembles the other crew. You can see them more vivid than you've ever seen them before, arrayed in front of you. And, you know, each one of them kind of like either takes a hat or their hand and kind of places it over their heart and bows to you as if in agreement with the decision that you've made. There's something about them that feels more alive than they've ever felt before their passing.
So is it something that we've talked about before? And now this is just me talking to you, Dave, because I'm kind of like dipsy brain for the moment.
So previously you would see crew members that have fallen in the past around the ship, the ghosts, and, you know, usually in reflective surfaces or out of the corner of your eye. But they've never appeared to you like this, so vivid, so strong. They've come to you in your time of need when you've entered your battle rage to aid you. But
that other crew,
yes, but no one else sees them but you right now.
I start. It almost sounds like I'm talking to myself. I say, "What are you all standing around here for?"
Oh, and Jezi, your compass goes a little bit crazy.
Do any of the spirits speak back?
No, but they smile, nod, and turn to get to work as you command it.
As I see the previous crew do things, is there sort of an interaction in the, I don't know, reality sake, not the spiritual sake? You know what I mean? Like if someone starts swabbing the poop deck, what I say, is mops moving around or whatever, or is it just something? That
No,
I
but
see?
but occasionally, like you'll see a spot on the deck just get a little cleaner than it was before.
Hot damn. A self-cleaning ship. That is what's
It's not.
up.
It's not.
Mara will
100%.
love it.
It's not 100% fully there, but it is more. This is the furthest they've reached through the vow without you raging.
Wow. I take a moment to look at I guess my previous captain, to see how he reacts or if he says anything. Because if I was to see him, I would be kind of shocked to command a previous commander. You know what I mean?
So he almost kind of mirrors you as he begins commanding the crew as you just commanded them.
Wow.
But he definitely took off his hat and bowed to you with the rest of them.
As this happened, I almost bend over to re-pick up his hat, but I'm touching air, you know? Sir, you don't need to do that. You've earned your stripes in the past. And like, almost like nary a response, you know, without getting an inkling back. As it looks like I'm talking to myself in this deck of chaos. I kind of imagine Mara walking in over the image of the captain, the ghostly previous captain, you know.
Yeah, well, your disconcerted live crew that is kind of freaking out are getting like a little bit more freaked out because you're like addressing things that no one else sees.
Yeah.
Like you're muttering and whisper, is the captain all right? Is this the thing that's gonna break him?
Nothing has broken me. Mara, whip everybody into shape. We need a full report of what's going on here. Nobody sleeps a wink until we figure out what's happening from bottom to stern. And I returned to my quarters like, shit, that really happened. Like, feeling embarrassment of myself.
So, Taro, you know, you're asking about the ship. As you're kind of examining things, the cannon ports, they've changed.
Okay.
You have the aft and 4 black powder cannons on the ship, same as before, but those cannons protruding from the starboard and port sides, they're not black powder cannons anymore. They are full Aether cannons.
Is Aether cannons a normal thing on certain ships?
No. Generally, Aether cannons aren't on ships because only the largest of battle cruiser class ships can even possibly have them, because they have the Aether core to sustain them. But on a smaller ship, the Aether drain would be just too much to keep the ship moving and aloft, and to use Aether as as a weapon, but you have seen this before. You saw this on the blueprints of the Storm's Herald. It was
The ship we were looking for.
Yes.
So I'll bring this to the captain's attention. Now,
But that being
Aether-
said, nothing you've seen so far would lead you to believe that that ship is anywhere near Denvu or the Wind's Echo. I'm just saying it's something
Okay.
you've seen that is similar and recently.
So before I run to the captain to let him know about this, very obvious difference, are Aether cannons Aether feist, or like they're a thing that manipulate the Aether, but you don't touch it to operate it, right?
They're Aether feist. They do.
Okay.
Instead of shooting a traditional cannonball, they shoot balls of Aether which do force damage.
Okay. All right. So I will go look for Razga and let him know. I think this is a major deal to, whatever process is just taking place. This is this is instant Aether feisting, which I was under the impression was not something that's done.
Yeah, like I feel like you guys will know, like at some point we're all gonna reconvene to kind of like discuss everything everyone's found out, to figure out what other gnarly things have had happen.
Okay. How is sorry, Hank? How is Hank reacting? Because, like I said, your compass just went ballistic.
So, Hank very much has done a lot of paranormal investigations, and usually he's very stern-looking and emotionless, very excited and animated, running around, looking at his compass, trying to follow where it's pointing, talking to himself, looking through the compass, grabbing things out of his box. He has like a little toolbox with all of his investigating gear, and writing notes, just very, very hyper, just running around. Like probably everybody around him is like freaking out and scared, and he is like insanely excited.
Okay, so as you're kind of doing that, you get a familiar itch, kind of like between your shoulder blades, but not really. And it's that feeling you get when you Aether walk.
Well, that's even more exciting.
What about Elias? What's going on with Elias right now?
Going around probably and inspecting the inside of the ship, trying to see if he can deduce what has caused the sudden change and everything.
Well, so far is you guys kind of witnessed like the aftermath of that corrupting presence in Denvu that was kind of changing and altering him, and had already kind of caused him to absorb other Aether ships into his being, and then after you guys rid him of that the dark influence, he the Denvu reached out to the crew, and the captain responded when he did, and he asked permission to carry you. Oh, and with that permission granted by the captain, he then began absorbing the wind's echo into his being. But unlike the other absorptions that seemed incomplete and just wrong, this seemed a lot more natural. And the two things have become one. The whale is no longer just a beast anymore, but nor is it an object or a constructed thing, but all three of those. The ship itself is now a living thing, and you can feel the presence of Denvu throughout it, but something more, as if he's metamorphosing into something more than just a sky whale or just another ship. But it doesn't quite seem complete yet. As if it's an ongoing process.
That I'd probably just be scribbling down notes and frantic thoughts in my head down on my little notepad, trying to make heads or tails of what happened. Not to mention realizing how fast my life was just about to be done for.
Then you hear a whisper in your head, in your mind. The voice is familiar. You're the one who spoke to me. Or tried to, while the madness was raging within. This time, the voice is a lot more calm and less frantic than before. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who am I?
Denvu?
Denvu. And you can't hear the name being repeated in your mind, like almost like it's rolling the words, the letters, the syllables off his tongue into your brain, as if almost tasting it for the first time. Denvu. That sounds right. I need to rest now. And then you kind of feel the song of the whale kind of reverberate through you as Denvu begins to slumber and recover from the ordeals that he's been through. But from that brief connection, you can tell that he's going to take some time, and he might not remember everything from before this transformation happened and before the corrupting force invaded him. But right now, you can feel him in your mind as a gentle presence. It feels like you could push him out if you wanted to. It doesn't feel intrusive or aggressive in any way. Just kind of there.
Sleep, gentle giant, until another day.
So after you guys have some time to compare notes and gather your thoughts, Razga, what did you do to calm the crew?
I definitely put them all to work. I don't know if they thought, and just making sure inventory is whatever our inventory is to kind of like make sure our numbers are good. We don't know if the ship's transformation took any supplies, gave us more supplies. We don't know any of this information. Having those numbers on the books is good. Making sure everything is operational. If there's anything that they don't know how to use, you better learn how to use it. You know what I mean? Just keeping them to their duties and like reminding them, hey, without a ship, we don't have a crew. Without a crew, we're basically all dead. Get to it.
So, you know, as you go about interacting with the ship and the crew, it for the most part operates the way it did previously, only better and more responsive. Even though the ship slumbers right now, or the WoW part of the ship slumbers right now, the ship is still reacting as it would normally.
Damn, I was using cheap parts. The whale made it better.
With that being said, you guys were actually on your way to Stranglehold to investigate the rumors of the Skywell attacks. Obviously, you found one of them thus far, but in the dossier you were given, there is mention of a tavern, the Rust Cow, cow like hood, not like moo, where, you know, kind of the dregs of sailors kind of end up, and if one were to survive a shipwreck and we're looking for work, that is more than likely where they would end up being. But you guys do have one minor issue right now. You can't really fly a Skywell into the port, especially after Skywells have been harassing the shipping lanes. Now,
what do you mean? This is my luxury class ship. Like, clearly. Did you get the Discord picture? Like, you know? Now,
you do have a small skiff that you could take into Granglehold. And one of the other things that you may or may not notice, depending on how thorough Tara were you at examining the exterior of the ship.
You're muted, Ted.
Sorry, I was muted. I would imagine that that Taro is pretty thorough, trying to find, you know, what has happened to the ship. You know, while he's, you know, not the engineer, he's, you know, far more curious than he probably should be about this bizarre transformation and, you know, merging. So, like, he's trying to find all the little, you know, differences, all the nooks and crannies, find out like what's gonna make this, you know, tick, what's gonna, you know, make this be something different than what it was before.
Yeah, so one of the things that you kind of pick up on as soon as you kind of go over the side, whether you're using planking, pulley system, whatever you got rigged up to do it, from the inside of the ship you don't really notice it as much. But the Skywells, because of their coloration, you know, have a bit of a camouflage ability that is actually being transferred to the ship as well. So the parts that are the Echo's windlass actually, you know, look like blues and whites, almost like clouds rolling through the sky. So it's not quite. It's not quite like bird of prey cloaking, but at a distance, it'll do.
So I make sure the captain's, you know, fully aware of that.
yeah, absolutely. And I think around, I would feel like at least it's around this time, kind of have that group meeting. Everyone, talks about what they figured out, comments, concerns, things like that. You know what I mean? I guess I would say, so, what have we found out?
Well, we've got improved cannons. We've got some kind of camouflage going on. I'm still trying to figure out what this, is going to mean as far as our core, our engine. I mean, we're kind of, we're not kind of, we're a whale. So I imagine there's probably going to be some maneuverability changes as well.
That's good to know. What are everyone else's thoughts as I turn to the rest of the crew that are sentient?
There's definitely some supernatural forces here.
You see my face go. You're like. So I'm lying my ass off like. Like. What makes you say that?
Oh, my paranormal investigation skills. Lots of traces. Have you seen any I don't know, apparitions? Whispers?
I look to I literally look to the rest of the crew who's literally not Mara or Gus. I tell them, I don't mean this core group, obviously. I mean the NPC crew. Everyone, you must go for a second. What, Captain? Was for a moment, please. As they go out, yes. I'm not sure why, I'm not sure how, but...
Mops is in the corner mopping.
Mops? Oh, shit. Well, Mops knows it keeps his mouth shut. Just do his job.
He pretends like you didn't say anything, and when everyone else is kind of like, marching out, he's just like whistling to himself.
Alrighty. Well, yes.
I mean, you're the captain. You can still order him out if you like.
Nah, that's fine. I said worse shit around Mops. So yeah, I definitely disclose the fact that, well, there's something peculiar about this ship. Mainly, the whole previous crew is still here, in spirit form, if you will.
Interesting. I'm gonna take out my notepad and start writing a lot down. Have you had any communications?
As I look over to the siblings, why do you think I took a keen interest on your resume?
Right.
I know as much as you at this point.
I'm gonna pull up my glasses too. Have you had any no communication, like verbal? I mean, do they talk to you? How many? What are we looking at here?
Oh, literally go through the manifest in my brain we're talking at least a dozen, but no verbal communication, just winks and nods. And
so we're looking at a possessed whale. A possessed sky whale.
Possibly.
Maybe not for the negative, but a possessed sky whale or whale flying vessel.
Screw it. Give me a persuasion check. I'll see if you persuade me. Yes, that's exactly what's going on.
Has this kind of thing ever been talked about or listed in any history books of, whales being inhabited by spirits or whales merging with ether ships or anything tangentially related to this?
Nope.
I'm coming off really weird at a 3.
You're convincing. You're fully convinced on yourself, but like, I have noticed things. And then I go into detail before saying like, well, I've seen these apparitions before. I'm not sure the whale is.
These
I mean, we saw
particular apparitions?
the whale fuse.
I can't explain the relation for the life of me.
How long have these spirits been tied to this ship?
I say around the same time I assumed captain. I had to take over from the last crew.
And how long ago was that?
I say about 5 years ago.
5 years. That's not very long.
How long have we served together, Tate?
Just a few. So what did I say? Months or years?
You said a
Not
couple
sure.
of years.
So a couple of years then.
I find that it fits into this backstory because I said 5, 3's a couple. You know what I mean?
Taro, as they're kind of talking, this kind of brings back a memory for you, and that's working in the engineering room with the core. You were kind of assisting Alira, and when she kept muttering about the damn ghosts in the machine, in the core, you kind of just took it as a euphemism at the time, or just like her kind of like blaming something she couldn't understand because maybe she's
Right.
not as good as other Feister as you. And now that conversation comes back, and it might hold a little bit of a different meaning.
So you're saying these ghosts have always been around, Captain?
Yeah, they always been around. In fact, they assist me in battle from time to time. But
Is it you or is it the ship?
I couldn't tell you. With a 0 intelligence and 0 wisdom, I have just as much a guess as you have.
So I've never seen the captain do anything with Aether, right?
No.
But he is like myself, a beastkin and therefore, slightly corrupted.
Yes, correct.
Rain, are you in the room?
I believe you're all together.
Yeah, we're all together.
So you're studied, right, into the Aether stuff?
Yes.
Is this anything that you've experienced? Spirits and all that?
No.
Okay then.
Well,
I mean,
what to tell
I've
you,
seen a
Captain.
temple like possessed, but never I don't know what we want to call this situation. A whale ship.
Necromancy is strictly forbidden. If
it doesn't usually do good things.
if we dabble here, there could be repercussions beyond our ship. You know that in Fulcrus, at least, there were divination enchantments and charms everywhere. these sorts of things are monitored. Most places where they know about ethermancy. It's the sort of thing that gets you locked away.
I turn over to Dorian and Elias, excuse me. Like, it will be unwise of me as a captain to unhear everyone's opinions and or thoughts about this. Please feel free to give any, if you have any.
The silence is deafening.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Robin was going to speak up first. I was giving her the help.
I'm sorry. I missed the last line because I was like internally sneezing.
Well, I basically just said like, hey, feel free to chime in. You know, I'll be unwise as a captain to not hear everyone's thoughts or even opinions about this.
Dorian, you had woken to the voice of what you believe is the ship.
Oh, that's who was talking. Okay, yeah, I would definitely mention that. Like, Dorian would sit up a little bit and, you know, talk about, like, waking up and everything being different and having felt that presence and what was said. Like, did any of the rest of you...
No, but what did it sound like? Male, female, something else, anything else?
It's hard to recall. I wasn't even sure who I was speaking to at first at the time. For a moment I thought Rain was in the room with me. There's a moment of delirium when you're first booting up. I'll let you know more as I know more. And no, never mind. That face doesn't show anything. There would not be an expression there.
The only voice I've heard is the whale. Seemed very distraught and confused. Seems like he wanted to go to sleep.
Not distraught. Disoriented would be a better word.
Disoriented.
Interesting.
And that I struggle with realizing what's reality and not all the time. I see things most never do.
What kinds of things?
Sometimes my mind just is all over the place with paranoia that sometimes it just seems everyone's out to get me.
I'm not sure if you can call it paranoia if they really are trying to get you.
They usually are.
I understand. I was assassinated.
So this whole time since Taro had asked Rain about the spirits, and Rain gave a very short answer. Like, Taro's been following the conversation, but clearly his mind is on what's happened, and he looks back to Rain's like, I wasn't accusing you of anything, right?
I'm glad to know that.
I just you studied. You're new to the crew. I don't really know all the things that you can do, but I know you wield Aether, and I'm trying to just figure all of this out.
What's important right now is our ship has been merged with a whale. It's the whale in the room, proverbially speaking, and quite literally.
Do we think the whale, I feel like the presence of the whale, but do we think the whale died and got sucked into the ship? Like, is the ship the murderer? Just a thought.
There was no murder. The ship is alive now. Do you see it? It breathes. I am keenly aware of this, as I do not.
But is it like the ship a like soul sucker? And then it sucked the whale in.
I think it's the other way around. The ship became a part of the whale, not the whale became a part of the ship.
So, real quick, Carlos, because you're away, Hank was just asking if the ship is a soul sucker, and did it suck in the whale?
I mean, again, I'm not trained in religion or con. I got straight and zeros and all that, man. What I'm gonna say is just from what I have experienced. I can't speak for anybody else. But nor would I say curse, neither. But the ship has a tendency to grasp onto the souls that are. Thus why I'm particular about everyone looks out for everybody.
How much do you know about us? You dismissed the rest of the crew, except for us, and at least for my part, and for Dorian. We're new. Why us?
It's because you're new. That's why I recruited you all. And for Taro, Mara, and Gus, know them the longest. They know. It's no mystery to them. Mops, is he still in there?
Mopping away, pretending like he's not listening, but very much listening.
And Mops, he has heard it all here and there. Doesn't bother him.
Permission to speak, Captain?
Permission granted, Mops.
Well, Mr. Rain, I just thought, the captain brought you all on as specialists, to do the jobs away from the ship while we kind of keep things now down here. We're pretty handy in a tough pinch, especially in the sky, but we're not, Aether Feisters and Ethermancers and all of you pretty much wield some Aether or another. Also, just real quick aside, aside from Razga and Taro, and Hank, the rest of you, as far as anyone else would be concerned, would consider you just Ethermancers, like Druid, Bard. That doesn't mean anything to them per se. You wield Aether, so you just perhaps do it in a different way. Now, you personally may have a distinction of what it is that you do, but to most of the citizens of this world, they would just see you all as Ethermancers. And Mops would probably share that same perspective, and that's why he kind of said that. And then he goes back to mopping.
Absolutely, Mops. Isn't that not what I said?
Aye, Captain.
But still, you are a specialist. Specialists are needed to figure out what's going on here.
If you give me a few days, I may be able to find something. Sorry, Jezi, go ahead.
Hank, please speak.
Oh, just Hank and Hank comments. Just that we need a priest.
Do any of the spirits around me get pissed off at hearing that? I don't know.
They don't seem to be around, but Mops actually breaks his facade and shivers in the corner. What passes for priests in this world tend to be pretty hardcore, and they hate magic, and their sole purpose is to retake the surface world and never have anyone use magic again.
Wow,
They're-
that sounds horrible.
They're zealots.
Wow, like, I don't even nary a response to that as well. Like, you see my scales kind of shiver at the thought. Like, well, regardless, there's another half of this mission. As I and forgive me, Dave, it was something cow.
The rust cow,
The rust cow.
as in hood, not cow moo.
Yeah. And I make that distinction as well. Not the sky cow. The one that you hide yourself with. Mm. And we have to find the other ship.
Yeah, ultimately you are looking for the Storm's Herald that was swallowed by a sky whale.
Mm-hmm.
And they want the whale or the ship or the core of the ship brought back.
They want the core of the sky whale.
No, the ship's core, the other core. That is they want the whole ship back if they can get it, but the main thing is the core.
I hate to disappoint them, man, but it looks like we fused.
No, different ship.
Oh,
Yeah,
different ship?
Different ship, yes.
Oh, excuse me.
Different ship, different whale.
Okay. And the point is, I remind the crew of our other half of the mission.
Another intrusive comment. How does anybody know if Skywell shit?
They absolutely do. But that's a surface world problem. So Elias, as the talk of the Storm Herald and this other sky whale, you feel a shiver go down your spine. But it's not yours. As if, even in his sleep, Denvu was remembering something.
That was interesting. I think all this talk of the other ship and whale, I think our new friend might know something.
Our new friend.
Yes, the ship, the big whale.
Can you communicate with it?
I have. I told you. It talked to me.
Oh yes. forget that question. Yeah. I would say, do you think you can talk to it again?
I believe so. I think at the moment it might need its rest. I think the merge and everything prior took a lot out of it.
And
being that we are now inside of it, I think it should get its rest.
Absolutely. Turn to tarot.
Yes.
You think you can get these engines going to the cow?
I think they're going. It's like the whale appears to be asleep, but I believe we're still kind of able to move.
Oh,
I don't fully understand. I need some time to really examine it further, but this is unlike anything I've seen or heard of ever.
Mara, take the helm. Try to get us to the cow.
So when you dismissed them, Mara had already begun going on with the duties, and she knew where you were going, and she proceeded with the last orders. At a certain point, you guys are kind of like meeting, discussing. I imagine the meeting itself probably goes on much longer. You guys go in more depth, and you come up as the ship is coming to a stop. You're still quite some way away from Grangle hold, but as you come to the upper deck, Mara calls out, "Captain on deck, sir. The skiff is ready. I didn't think you would want to pilot the Echo in like this."
Yeah. Mara, keep eyes. Or rather, Mara, keep the deckhand ready. Gus, keep eyes. We're going in. As I, relate to her.
So, from above you hear a fluttering as Gus kind of like spirals down from the crow's nest and lands on deck before you. Captain, the other ships, they've been kind of ignoring us. I don't think they can see us.
Taro, you mentioned we have hiding capabilities now? Taro?
What was that?
Speak when talking to Taro! Like, I'm joking around.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the ship.
I get it. You said we have hiding capabilities.
It does appear that, we're blending in with the clouds and the sky. I kind of went over the edge and it really looked weird. It's seems to be a natural ability of what the whales do to, I guess, protect themselves from predators and to allow them to, get closer to the things that they feed on. But it seems that the whale's ability has been extended to encompass the ship. And I imagine the way Taro speaks, like he goes into convoluted explanations that you have to pull it back, simplify it.
By chance, is he going to a tangent of what is it? What do the whales have to hide from?
Yeah. The way Taro speaks is he'll bore you to death if you let him.
So she looks after her own like a good mother. And let's just hope those capabilities extend to their extensions as I point over to our little,
I would guess that if we depart on a skiff, it's not gonna extend to that since we're not a part of the whale anymore.
Of course.
But the Echo and the whale will be able to remain unseen while we're in port.
Of course. I just said let's hope.
I don't think we'd want to be on a skiff that was invisible. I think that would make our paranormal escapades a little worse.
Any worse than appearing out of thin air. Well, either case, we gotta get there, and we're here. So let's get there.
Captain, I'm going to take us out of the ship and lane wire away so none of these ships accidentally ram into us.
Aye, good call.
So before we go onto the next island, Rain will just kind of get Dorian in a corner briefly, and he will say, dearest, I need you to understand that I think it's dangerous to be open about what happened to you.
We do not trust this crew.
I trusted the people that we were around when it happened.
As did I. That does not mean that I never trust anyone again.
I just can't lose you. Again.
I have no reason to need to share it with anyone else.
And he will just kiss you on the forehead and then walk away.
So as you walk away and round the corner, there's Mops just mopping away, minding his own business.
I trust you're mopping away and minding your own business.
Of course, Mr. Rain, always. So with that, you guys load up onto the skiff, and as you do, the sky begins to sour. The clouds here hang lower, thicker. Yellow-gray bruises streaked with copper light beneath them. Granglehold rises like a scar on the world. A sprawl of broken towers, stitched airship hulls, and jagged cranes reaching skyward like rusted fingers. Smoke belches from half-dead chimneys. Other flares blink from calm spires and slow, uncertain rhythm, a pulse without a heartbeat. The scent hits next, burnt oil, ozone, salt, something sweet and wrong, like fruit rotting in an engine room. Beneath you, endless layers of wreckage and reclamation spiral downward, entire districts piled on top of older skeletons of ships, machines, and bones no one ever claimed. This isn't just a city, it's a landfill that decided to survive. Your ship weaves past drifting hauler barges and rust-rigged gliders toward a docking spire pitted with impact scars, chain welded reinforcements. Half-functional lighthouse stutters through green warning beams. The voice crackles over the comm scryer. Welcome to Granglehold. Mind your hull, your coin, and your soul. Anything unguarded belongs to the city. And with that, you're given a berth to land on.
Tyro smiles. He always likes this place. The spirit of this island seems to resonate, unlike a lot of the other places.
Yeah, so you guys kind of disembark and get your bearings. Does that mean Tyro's been here before?
I believe we've touched down here with a mission a time or two, but he's definitely been here prior to working for Razga.
Yeah, so so you guys kind of take the lead, even if you haven't been to the Rust Cow before. You know the general vicinity to where to find it. So you begin trekking through the city, or trekking into the city to get to the lower warrens of Granglehold, where you would find a seedy tavern of this nature. But before you do, she appears from between crates and coiled cables like she was always there, as if the ship docked around her. An old kobold, hunched and gnarled like twisted wire, her scales dulled to the color of tarnished brass. She wears layered scraps, netting, soot-black rags, and old Etherball jersey worn like a prophet's robe. A cracked pair of welding goggles sits useless on her brow. Her eyes are milk white and blind, but they see you. Her snout twitches, sniffing the air like it carries memories. Only claws tap the rusted deck in rhythm like she's counting something only she can hear. She points in your direction. No, not at your faces, at your names. Her voice is dry, brittle, but there's an echo in it, like it's been borrowed from somewhere deeper. You saved one. You left one. Either way, she knows your name now. She turns without waiting for a response and limps back into the junk, Maze muttering skyward. Stormbound and well-bound soon. Gravebound do. And like that, she's gone.
Have I seen this person before, or is this a first time?
First time.
Vagabonds. You know how they are.
Did anyone else find that weird?
Frankly, I don't know what to expect here.
Why? Maybe we're being followed.
Nah, that's always the case here.
Yeah.
They weren't kidding when they said, mind your purses.
Yeah.
So
We're
with
all
that-
being followed.
With that, you guys kind of trudge on forward. The alley narrow, after some traveling, the alley narrows as you descend into the ship-split depths of Grangle Hold. The clang of welders fades. The drone of sky barges above becomes muffled, like the city's holding its breath. The deeper you go, finally wedged between two collapsed holes, and beneath a crooked Aether tower, you see it. A broad iron door marked with a flaking brass plate that reads "The Rust Cow." Someone's carved a sigil of the cracked Skywell skull beneath the name, and over that, someone else scratched in still open. A pipe overhead drips something blue. Something hisses in the shadows. The smell here is equal parts rust, cheap alcohol, and burnt sky cord. Who enters the Rust Cow first?
I would
Alright.
definitely go to make sure it's safe for the captain.
Yeah.
Oh, I drink a lot, so I mean, I see a tavern, I'm running.
Love
Nice.
it.
This feels
Alright, so
exactly like Hank's place he darkens the doorway repeatedly.
A little jam up at the door, but then the door groans as it opens louder than it should, like it's warning the patron inside. The heat hits first, then the smoke, thick with ether residue and pipe ash. The interior is dim, lit by flickering ether lamps, salvaged from at least 3 different ships. The walls are half riveted bulkhead, half bone wood planks, held together by spite and solvent. Kobolds, beastkin, disgraced skyfarers, and a few crewless drifters fill the cramped space. Some wear flight leathers still stained from older wars. Others wear silence like a second skin. The barkeep doesn't speak. He just jerks their chin toward the wall, and the wall of unlabeled bottles, and starts pouring. Overhead, something scuttles through exposed piping and chuckles to itself. At the center of the room, a table of sky charts pinned with rusted nails, a bloodstained ether sensor, and a sign that reads, "Information isn't free, but neither are you." What are you guys doing?
Getting a drink, starting a tab,
Ah,
pointing at the group.
all right. Behind the bar stands a kobold whose scales were probably once crimson, now faded to the color of dried rust and tobacco ash. He's short even for his kind, but there's a coil to him, like a spring that's learned not to snap too soon. He wears a patched leather apron stitched with ship thread and old flight badges, each one likely taken off someone who no longer needed it. His left eye is cloudy and shrunken, his right sharp as cracked glass. On his belt, a cluster of stained corkscrews, bone stoppers, and one silver syringe with a name etched in a long dead language. When you enter, he doesn't greet you. He measures you with a snort, a blink, a low scrape of mug against the metal. His voice, when he uses it, sounds like oil sizzling on cold steel. Drink, deal, or disappear, and no one comes here for kindness.
Drink
Yeah.
information? Lots of drinks?
When you say that, he just points to the wall as if to pick a bottle. They're not labeled.
Oil can.
Damn. Oil can?
Oil can.
Or perhaps you
So-
would like to see something from my special Rust Cow pour list.
I don't know. Captain, are our room and board and I guess dietary needs covered in this trip?
Room board. Not too sure.
I mean, it would impress the locals if we spent some coin, might get some better information.
Sure.
Perfect.
As I look over to the bartender. You. I'll point over to the black bottle.
All right, roll die 8.
Jesus Christ, man! I rolled on my drunk level. It looks like a 3.
All right, a 3. Oh, that's a good choice. He hands you a somewhat clean glass, begins to pour an amber red with an ash floating at the bottom. It's warm to the touch. Furnace's kiss. It's gonna cost though 1 gold and 1 burn scar story.
Burn scar story. Tell me about that. What? I have gold, but
Tell me a story. Do you have any burns? And he's kind of like inspecting you, or maybe one of your friends do.
So I'll step up and kind of get between this kobold and the captain, and I'll just kind of like gesture down. And at first glance, it looks like my eyes are kind of gearing towards the hammer that is at my side, and it's a smith's hammer. It's not, nothing like it could be used as a weapon, but I've spent plenty of time at the anvil, and when I was first learning, I didn't have the wherewithal to be aware of the flaking of the metal when it gets hot and you are pounding it to reshape as it cools. And I kind of turn my leg just a little bit, and high on my calf there is a scar. It's slightly different colored. That is where the metal, the hot metal that came from the iron bar that I was working, got me good. I will never forget that lesson.
Oh yes, good. Drink then, drink. And he pushes the glass deeper into Razgad's hand.
I
kind of tilts it up a little bit.
He'll definitely notice I dropped 3 coins down, 3 gold pieces down. And because Hank made a great point. Splurge a little, get talked a lot, right? So I put the 3 coins down. Forgot my friend's drink as I nod over towards, obviously Tara, and then say, this right here for your troubles.
What about my drink?
You're right. I buy rounds for the crew.
So with that, he kind of asks you all to pick what you want to drink. Again, he just gestures to the wall of unlabeled bottles.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Is there
I'd
any
like
on your
the
list that's
fanciest
blue,
bottle.
Dave?
Yeah.
Is there any that are blue? Let's see.
Let's do an even 10. Yeah.
Yes,
So
there is. There's a POW. There's one that you can just make out, a POW blue vapor swirling inside like a storm glass.
I'd grab that one.
All right. Oh, for this one, someone needs to tell me one secret. You played plenty of gold.
I dropped 10 gold pieces, literally one.
Yeah.
For
Oh, yeah.
every
Yeah.
number.
Yes, you've paid plenty, but one secret from someone, please.
I see dead people.
There it is. There it is. That's all I wanted.
All right.
Well done, Carlos.
All right. Before I forget, Carlos, you drink your drink?
Absolutely.
The taste spicy enough to kill a lesser kobolds. Do me a favor, roll a d6.
All right. That'll be a 3 as well.
Okay, you have 3 temporary hit points.
My guy, yes.
But disadvantage on charisma checks due to the constant sweating until you use those 3 temporary hit points.
Got it.
I could punch you in the face.
If I start flaring my wares and we get into an argument, maybe.
Ted, you drink your drink?
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, Cloud Shiver. This is a favorite. Tastes like biting into lightning and menthol. So your hair, well, essentially your fur, begins to stand on end, and you gain resistance to lightning damage for 1 day.
Sweet.
But any metal you wear hums like a tuning fork.
Oh, I wear metal.
Oof.
I've got a big, thick metal belt that's got, runes inscribed around it. It's not quite as obnoxious as like a WWF belt, but it's not far off.
So who is grabbing a drink next?
Oh, absolutely. I want something that looks expensive.
That looks all right. They all kind of look the same.
Well, I put the dark ales.
Okay, dark. Let's see. No, not that one. Okay. He pours something for you. It's brown with flecks of wire and actual apple peels in it. It tastes surprisingly pleasant at first. So your ears kind of perk up and you make a sour face all of a sudden as you overhear a snippet of a conversation, and you just know the speaker is lying. You can taste lies for the next 5 minutes, and it tastes sour.
You need to write down what the bottle looks like.
Scrap cider is very delicious. Rain, Dorian, or Elias?
Dorian said
What?
oil can.
I did. I did. I opened with that.
All right. You did say oil can. Well, I figured that out. Rain or Elias?
I didn't know if we all had to roll a d8 for a mystery bottle, but so I already did.
Okay, we can go with that as well.
So I rolled a 5.
All right.
I was under the premise that it was going to be for everyone, so I went ahead and pre-rolled mine.
Okay, so we pour it out for you. And I just take that to mean like you just randomly point to something. That's why they were like calling out what they're looking for or whatever. So a bronze green sludge with copper foam. The taste: metal, oil, and fermented cabbage. For the next day, you're immune to poison. But if you burp near an open flame, there's a 10% chance it explodes.
I think this one was meant for Dorian.
What?
And for that one, I'm gonna need a little something extra. Give me something from your gear. something you don't need.
Okay.
And he starts kind of looking at your pack. Um, and Dorian, a viscous black brown shot served in a metal bolt casing. It reeks of burnt varnish, fermented rust leaf, and ether backwash. Some smoke comes out of it occasionally.
I'm like looking at this and thinking, yeah, I could probably process that actually. That is inorganic enough that I think it won't cause me to rust. So I go ahead and throw it back.
And as you do, he says, "Steel in the veins, spark in the teeth. Roll a d4."
Three.
Yeah, you feel invincible. You gain 5 temporary hit points, but suffer disadvantage on dexterity saves as your limbs twitch.
That's fine. I was already going to fail them.
Perfect. What do we got next?
So I guess
Rain.
I pick from the bottle that looks the cleanest.
Ooh, clean.
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice.
That one.
Okay. Clean, 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 clean. So I think you got 2 choices
Okay.
that seem to kind of jump out of you. There's a pale white with wisps of green fog dancing on the surface, and there is a milky gray with veins of dark purple swirling through it.
Let's go with the green. The one with the green fog on it.
Okay. Oh, this one's gonna cost you more than gold. Breath of Below. Taste of cold as regret. For the next 10 minutes, you don't breathe. You don't breathe. Literally, no need to. Can't speak. Can't smell. Advantage on saves versus gas, but unsettling to watch.
Okay. What does he ask for before I take it?
A minute of silence,
Oh.
which you're going to give him now.
Wow. So I guess there's no way of knowing how it affects you from an outward appearance.
Yeah, probably not. And
Unless I use my psionic mind and tap into your brain.
And it's at this point too that I think you kind of begin noticing how intently the patrons seem to be watching. As you guys are choosing your drinks, and you may have even seen some money change hands.
Hank, I think we spent enough. As I kind of like, gear up and kind of like, stretch, but kind of reach down to my hand axes, like, in case something pops off. I still remember which part of town I'm in.
So what do you guys want to do now?
So looking around this, bar, this tavern, are there, assortment of people? Are they, doing any kind of dice games, card games, arm wrestling, any of that kind of stuff?
I would say an assortment of all those things are happening. And right off the bat, you notice there's, several beastkin, several humans, couple half elves, some kobolds, dwarves, gnomes, Goliath, uh, even an elf in here, um, a, a beastkin that kind of looks like your stereotypical what you'd picture a devil to look like.
I want to go, take some coin and go just, mingle and converse and get to know, like, the rabble that's here. Fully prepared to, even if I have to play stupid, I wanna just throw some money around and have conversations with people and get, kind of get on their good side.
Okay. Are you looking for anything particular, or just whoever you kind of walk up to like first?
Groups that seem like they're more lively. Like I don't want to go approach the shadowy guy in the corner that's sitting by himself. I want to engage the boisterous, the ones that are already having a good time.
All right. Roll 3d20.
3d20.
3d20, he said.
15, 18, 5.
All right. You've got a sitting at a table. There are three individuals: a male kobold, and as you're kind of like wandering that way, you kind of get a whiff of burnt wire that seems to be coming off him. He's wearing a set of sky goggles over his eyes. There is a smug, sharp-dressed beastkin that looks to be of some kind of fox origin, is like kind of their appearance, and he's got a blade visible on his hip. And then you see a small gnome man, and he's kind of like smiling and chatting away, and he just seems to have too many teeth for his mouth, like the biggest smile.
So I just, like I said, I want to just kind of join in on whatever it is that they're doing. If they're playing a game, I'll see if I can get involved. Um, if they're just having a good old time, I'll offer to buy them around. But I'm just looking to engage in conversation and try and see if I can learn any rumors that are currently happening around town, whether they know anything about the weird ships disappearing or whales.
Yeah, so as you approach and ask to join in, ask for them to deal you in. Sure, stranger. You familiar with Skybreaker?
Is it only this place that plays Skybreaker, or is that a common card game around?
It is. I would say it was more common here in Stranglehold. Some places might play it otherwise, but it's like basically like a form of poker.
It's been a while. You might have to refresh me on the rules, but I'm a quick study.
Yeah, so they kind of introduce themselves. The one that looks like a fox is they call me Jasco. And then the kobold chimes in, Darn, but my friends just call me Chaff. And the gnome Wickle Grin at your service, my friend.
Wicklegrin, Jaskro, and
Uh,
Darn.
Jasco and Tharn, but he said you can call him Chaff,
Chaff. Okay.
and that's the kobold.
Well, pleasure. They call me Taro. Just kind of got into port today. It's been a while since I've been back here.
So I imagine like you're not like, hey, can I play your game? And hey, what about them sky whales? But you
Sure,
kind of
yeah,
like
I'll let it. Like play a few rounds. Let the conversation ebb and flow. Um, you know, and as long as they can tolerate as much talking as Taro tends to do, especially if I'm losing coin to their game.
do you have
That,
do you have any tool sets? I mean game sets?
I know. Um, all of my things are legitimate tools.
Yeah.
I can cook,
So
I can smith, I can tinker.
so Skybreaker is kind of weird. It's like a poker game, but also during certain phases of the game, cards get thrown out on the table. And it becomes like a dexterity game or a coordination game where the person that can slap their hand on the card first can take it and use it in play. So,
Okay.
um, so give me a dexterity check.
Oof.
This is my strong point. That's an 8.
Okay. Um, yeah. So you're probably losing more hands than you're winning. All three of them seem really nimble and fast, and like they play this game a lot.
Sure.
Now, give
The-
me a persuasion check.
That would be a natural 20 for a 23.
Okay. So throughout the conversations, like you guys go all over the place, and Jasco at one point brings up in a kind of like snarly bit of a high-pitched, whiny, yippy voice. Some of those missing ships, they joined the whales. I'm sure of it. At another point, Chaff. The whales are building something. They carry pieces inside of them. I know it. Everybody knows it. Looks kind of smug. And then Wickle. I heard a rider survived. Still bound to the living whale, steering it.
He's steering the whale.
Yeah. They say a little guy steering the whale. But I mean, I guess on the top of a whale, they would all look little. But some say I'm little. So is it little next to me or is it little next to you're small, right?
At the moment.
Yeah. So he just looks over to like this like giant of a man. It's like at another table. Or is it small next to Narn over there? It's hard to say.
Oh, he's
Um,
not that big.
And kind of like with each of their stories, like they also give you know coordinates or navigation points. They're not the same, but they seem to be kind of like in the same region.
All right, I will take a mental note of that. To kind of toss back to the captain.
Now, are you kind of being nonchalant about it, or kind of like
I don't imagine like I'm grilling them,
mhm.
but I'm also not hiding my interest.
All right. So, in that case, Wickle looks at you after you guys have been talking for a little while and goes, "You're looking for something, aren't you?" I know it.
Well, I mean,
can smell it.
I've heard stories, and it seems far-fetched and interesting.
He kind of looks around And all of a sudden, like, you just know this guy is shifty as fuck, right? And he kind of like pulls aside one of his vests a little bit, and you see rolled up pieces of parchment kind of like staggered, right? Throughout the inside of
Sure.
his vest. Yeah, he's got a bunch of them in there. I got I got I got a. You're not with the watch, are you?
No, I'm not with the watch.
All right. I asked you. You gotta tell me now. That's the rules. I know it. Um,
I
I got
promise you, I'm not with the watch of this town or any other.
I got a map. It's got a sky scar in it. The location, and that's where this stuff has been popping off.
And how much are you asking for one of these maps?
Oh, I mean, if I get caught with this, it could be. Oh, they might even send me to the surface. I'm gonna need. Let me
For,
look
for
around
selling a
here.
map.
Well, let's not discuss where the map came from or how I got it, and you need to forget my name. And the other two at the table just kind of like roll their eyes, and you're like, oh, they've seen this play out before. I'll let it go for a steal. I'll give it to you for 30 gold.
Now, did we have any coin of our own besides, our starting stuff?
I mean, I guess you would kind of have your starting stuff basically.
All right. Well, if I've already, let's just say, I've dropped, 5 gold in the game. I certainly don't have another 30.
So like one of the other players, Chaff, is like he's kind of like hiding a gesture, but he like points down.
Mhm. So oh, realistically, and like I'll literally upend, my coin purse. That's all I got left, and I spread out 10 gold.
He like scoops it up, and the kobold is kind of like sees like hiding in his jacket, like the thumbs up. He's like, "This is a good start, but what about one of your friends over there? They look like they got some money. I can do it for 20. You got another one of your friends loan you 10? I mean, I could get sent to the surface."
So what is Razga doing while I'm doing all of this?
Ew, hoo, 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 hoo. So I've been keeping an eye out, just kind of like sipping my temporary given drink, just looking around. And I see you go off to your own, I see you make your interactions. Do I notice you're kind of like in a predicament in that, or do you
I'm not
sig-
really in a predicament, but I am looking around to try and catch your eye.
We definitely lock eyes from across the room.
So I'll just kind of like, like kind of do one of these things of like, twitch my ear, kind of trying to beckon you over.
I do beckon, if you will.
So, Razga, these guys have potentially an interesting map, but I'm short the coin. Do you happen to have another 10 gold to procure said map?
Raise my hand before I exchange of money. And I'm assuming money wasn't fully exchanged just yet.
Oh no, he's already got my 10.
Yeah, there's a gnome clutching a fistful of gold pieces.
I put
Tightly.
I put my hand over the gnome's hand before things get properly exchanged. Can I see this map for authenticity's sake?
Right here in the open?
You're taking my gold in the open.
Yeah,
Unless you
no-
want to go someplace else.
well, maybe over in the corner or something.
I literally press down on my finger on the gnome's hand to kind of like release that gold if you don't mind.
So you're much stronger than him, and he begrudgingly does.
Obviously, I'm not being disrespectful, breaking a wrist. I'm just kind of like letting him know Daddy's home. Like,
He looks a little concerned. He goes a shade or two paler.
respectfully, I'm not being overbearing about this.
Well, here, I'll tell you what, sir. Like, you got the bearing of a trustworthy fellow. You can go look at it over there, and he kind of tries to hand it to you discreetly, and come back with my gold if you think it's legit, or just bring back my map.
Yeah. As we get up, I would love it if the rest of the crew noticed. I don't know if it means anything about anything, but like I don't know what if it is. What do you think is a good way to get the crew to notice Taro?
I think it's worth a try.
All right. You know what? Here's what I'll do, because this is not out of the ordinary for this area. I'm going to spend a rage counter. I have two. I'm assuming we didn't short rest since the event, so I'll spend one.
You could have short rested, just not a long rest.
Okay. I'll figure this out later. In regards to my hit points, but like I'll spend the rage and be like, "This better be authentic!" as I yelled this out loud.
He definitely it goes more than a few shades paler now. Kind of starts looking around, and with that, he like says, "Just keep it," and darts out.
Oh shit! Okay. Yo, add that 10 coin back to your purse. Like,
Okay.
oh shit. Okay.
And the other patrons kind of begin shying away, and the fox kind of like strokes his chin, twitches an ear. I don't know if that map's authentic or not, but I can tell you it really is contraband. And he slinks off.
I just kind of quickly, boink, put it into my shirt. If anyone's gonna get to it, it's gonna get between my hard pecs and whatever leather I have on, you know? Like, like they're gonna have to really wrestle for it, but
No perception or insight checks needed, but a good portion of the patronage here, like the ones that you think are maybe the regulars or the hardcores, begin kind of like filing out, like they're concerned something might go down. Kind of has that air of the feeling before the storm touches down.
Perhaps we should also leave.
indubitably. Or what is it? I remember we said this before. You said indubitably. Yeah, let's go.
Indubitably, sir.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and Scratch, the barkeep, definitely giving you dirty looks as he's watching the patrons file out. But it seems somewhat tempered by the fact that you overpaid for everything.
I'm assuming rest of the crew is picking up what we were putting down.
Oh, I'll follow you out.
Alright, so
Out the door.
alright. Hey, drop the drink.
I'm coming. This place is a shithole.
Not wrong.
And that's saying something. I've been in a lot of them.
Oh, wow.
So,
that up.
what skills do you have, Carlos, as far as when it comes to being a sailor?
Well, when it comes to being a sailor, let me just go look at this real quick, because like backgrounds. I have acrobatics and stealth as being a sailor. That's what my background grants me.
Tools like navigation tools.
Oh yeah. I had navigation tool. I thought you meant like skills. Like...
No, tools. Okay, so when you get like away from here and you look at the map, you're like, it is a legit map. The coordinates do appear to be legitimate, and you're not completely unfamiliar with the term Sky Scar. You're not sure. You've never experienced one. You've heard of them. They're regions of warped atmosphere from Aether ruptures, so they can be particularly dangerous.
While I do take a quick look at the map, I may not have the highest intelligence in the bunch of us, but with a common knowledge, I feel like I should know. Now is not a good time to be looking at this too in-depthly. As I ask our crew, do we have any stragglers following us?
My passive perception is an 18. Do we?
With passive perception, yes.
Yes, we are being followed, sir.
And matter of fact, like, you're being followed by professionals, because as at intermittent, and it's a team. At intermittent points, like someone that's following you drops off, and you pick up someone new.
Okay, even knowing that and understanding what it means, I feel like Dorian would just bluntly state all of that out loud to the whole party, where everybody that's following us can also hear it.
Point them out.
Yeah, I'm just like, there, over there behind that building. I think that one just left, and there's another one coming in somewhere around.
Can I try to do something, Dave?
You can always
with
try
a
to do
new
something.
skill that I have ever since I fixed my background.
Okay, what would you like to try and do?
I want to pickpocket Roz.
Sure.
If he notices, it's fine, because I'm kind of trying to be sneaky from them, is what I'm really trying to do. I want to take the map from him without them noticing.
Okay, so I would say you have advantage because of the distraction that the rest of the crew is kind of providing, and Roz is focused on seeing if there was a tail or not.
Cool. Okay, so 17 and 18 is what I rolled. Both are +5, so I'm going to take the 18 plus 5 for 23.
Yeah,
so
no one sees you take the map.
Cool.
Even if I saw you picking me, I'd be like, I trust my crew. I hired them to let them take it.
They don't seem to interfere with you in any way. Since they've been pointed out, anyone who wants to insight can.
I will.
Sure. Can I give Dorian advantage? Actually, is there a way to do that with this? Or
I don't need it. I have a 27 already.
Never mind.
Jeez.
I can't roll close to
that's
that.
like,
I
yeah.
roll +3.
My insight and perception are my double proficiency skills.
So you're like great at this.
Yeah, like I was in the theater, I had to pay attention.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Robin, I have to tell you a thing. After stream, something hit me.
So, like I said, clearly these are professionals following you. They're working as a team, and you don't think they're from the seedy side of town. You would guess that they are either some kind of law enforcement, military, or something else.
Dorian has no facial expression whatsoever and a flat affect, but you can tell he is disgruntled when he says, I think they're police.
Should we split up then?
I'll drop back.
I'll take Dorian in arm, and we'll go down a side alley if he's willing.
Oh, absolutely. Anywhere you want to go.
And I guess like before you split up, you get more of a observation vibe than a like cut off and stop kind of vibe.
Yeah. Just before we split off, though, Rain will say, rendezvous at the boat in an hour.
I'm pretty sure he's asking you guys that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
saying it to
sounds
everyone
good.
who he's not going with.
Yep. I'll take captain.
Oh,
So, just before
Yep.
we all sort of like, or at least before Dorian and Rain split off from the group, Rain offers rendezvous at the boat in an hour.
Alright. Yeah, that seems like a good plan to me.
I'm gonna need you to act really drunk.
I still have the mug for my drink from the bar. No need to act. That kind of like, swing. I chug down the last tiddlywinks of it. Oh boy, what a bunch of dumbasses they were, eh? As I just go off, spewing profanities, acting like a barbarian. Every single moment I can, I'm gonna use a bonus action to keep that rage up.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
So while this is going on, I'm gonna give Elias hand signals. That means stay with you. And I'm gonna drop back about 50 feet. And can I go stealth?
Yeah, you can absolutely try that. There's plenty of places for you to break line of sight.
17.
Okay. Taro, what are you doing?
I'm staying with the captain. Looking to just be there in case something happens.
Okay.
Yeah, Taro, like, it was a foul play to use such an underhanded tactic against an upstanding citizen like you. Wah, 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 wah.
What is Hank doing while they're stealth? So you're dropping back, stealthing.
Yep, slowly. Just kind of keeping like between 30 and 50 feet, somewhere in there, where I
Okay.
can see them and quickly get to them, but enough to where I have room to stealth.
Okay. So, is the intent for the crew to try and lose them, or
Now I'll draw
Something.
one or two out.
okay? So as you're following them, you can see that while there is, you've at this point you spotted at least a dozen different ones, but they seem to be working in teams of twos. And as but they never get particularly close. They just seem to be observing and trying to be very nonchalant about it.
Do I notice like badges, uniforms, or are they like dressed the same?
No, they are there's been several different races, kind of mixed, and they do not seem to have any kind of insignias or uniforms on them. Matter of fact, their dress is very varied.
I'd like to see if I can get close to a pair.
Okay. How close would you like to get?
I'm within earshot, and I am a half elf.
Okay. So, you can do that. Give me a perception check.
14?
Okay. So you catch snippets and you know, as they're talking, and like one of them is, yeah, they're definitely the ones. All right, let's go make our report. And then they kind of like they kind of go to move away from the port and where you guys are headed.
All right, I'll catch back up and report back to the ones that are close to me.
Okay. So with that, you guys are all able to get back onto the ship, and nothing seems to happen. You leave and redock with the wind's echo, and are able to set out. Are you plotting a course for the Sky Scar?
Yeah.
Okay. So after, several, probably several days worth of travel into the wild sky, away from shipping lanes, eventually the wind dies. Not all at once. It unravels, peels away in strands until only stillness remains. The sky folds open like a wound, and from its depths, the bellower of silence emerges, its name reverberating within your mind and soul. It drifts impossibly vast, a skywell once but no longer. Its flesh is canvas thin, stretched too tight over a lattice of exposed metal bones. Brass struts pierce through its flanks like broken ribs fused with chunks of old ships, hulls, cannons, even figureheads, now swallowed into its body like swallowed prayers. Its mouth hangs open, unhinged, weeping strands of psalm chords, slick and rotted, as if the beast once sang but forgot why. The sound that spills from it isn't a roar. It's a song with no joy, a low droning hymn that feels ancient, inverted, and wrong. It vibrates in your bones and pushes against your thoughts like fingers beneath your skull. Its eye, if it still has one, is a molten socket of pulsating ether, and you feel it scan you, not with sight, but with recognition. It knows what you did. It knows where you fly. It remembers freedom. Now it wants to silence the sky. The clouds churn, thick with oily lightning. The wind's echo groans beneath your feet. The bellower charges. And that's where we'll end things for tonight. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us and watching. Of course, thanks to my awesome players for playing. And until next time, stay nerdy.
Hey, nerdy.